Well, like so much in the world and in churches, change is constant. So we're looking at some absolutely fascinating changes that are occurring in ministry and education. These shifts really have a profound impact on local churches. So welcome to Reign Around Leadership. We're going to be talking about something that is really a fascinating subject because the landscape of ministry, education, and training is changing. And what does that mean for you and your church? So more on that here in a moment, but I certainly want to talk about our sponsor, Logos Faith Life. We are thrilled to have them as a sponsor. And, according to a recent survey, 30% of evangelical churchgoers want more in-depth teaching. So if you want to go deeper into the word, Logos is the Bible study platform for you. I am a user of Logos, and let me tell you, I absolutely love it because Logos fuses powerful technology with biblical resources. So you can access Bibles, search tools, commentaries, seminary level courses, and even audiobooks right there on your phone, tablet, or desktop. It is like a research assistant right there for you. Logos offers nearly 200,000 digital books from the world's top publisher. It is also now more affordable than ever. So go get started for just $49. Where do you go? You go to logos.com/church answers, and you can check it all out there. So grateful to Logos and Faith Life for being a sponsor. And Dad, welcome to your own show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be at my own show. I'm glad to be at your own show as well. I love this partnership with Logos. I love the fact that we have a similar heart, and that's to help the local church and to help pastors and other church leaders. And you said it best, Sam. I love the way you said it. It's like having a research assistant. It is so highly affordable especially when you put it in that perspective. It is absolutely the best that is out there, and we are glad to have them as a part of us. So we're talking about a lot of changes that are going on. We've talked about changes in the stewardship issue of churches. We've talked about changes in worship style. Had a conversation not too long ago with the folks at Brown Church Development Group who help to build, construct churches, renovate them, the best in the business. And Brown Church was telling me about all the changes that were happening in the world of facilities. Well, it's also happening in the world of ministry, education, and training. And the first time I really had my aha moment, I've had several of them in this area, was I read an article 2 or 3 years ago, and it says Google now prefers certifications at least as equal to undergraduate and graduate degrees. I said, what? Google will take certifications? And so, but basically what they were saying were, if you're trained and certified in one of the areas, this was particularly for those who code software, but it's been expanded since then, you don't have to have a college degree to be at Google as long as you have received the certification. And we're seeing some of that change begin to take place right now in the world of ministry, education, and training. There were some early wins of change. Off-campus models began to emerge. Sam, for you as a 42-year-old, no longer young, but middle-aged man whom your father is no longer middle-aged or even old, but totally decrepit man, you have never known.
That's a really good word, by the way. Can I just start calling you not my old man, but my decrepit old man? Is that fair?
That's fair. Yes, you can call me a DOM, decrepit old man. So. So
is there a Southern Baptist joke in there somewhere?
It is.
There's plenty of people that listen that aren't Southern Baptist, but maybe our old school Southern Baptists will get that joke.
Yes. So you probably have never known a world where everything was on campus. I mean, you knew it when you were a kid and I was a seminary student, that the only way you got an education was to be on campus and basically to be full-time. As a matter of fact, I introduced, when I was dean at Southern, the Saturday or weekend Master of Divinity. And it was radical that people would actually come in from a remote location and come to class on Fridays and Saturdays and get their MDiv in 3.5 years by doing that. That was radical back then. But I got to tell you, another part of this that was just eye-opening for me while I was getting my degree, your mother was working on a degree. Did you know that?
Now, I do remember her taking courses. Yes.
She took courses from Liberty in counseling. And we couldn't afford it, but bless my mother's heart, she wanted her daughter in law to have this training. And so she paid for it. And every so often, this huge box would arrive, and it would have books, and it would have manuals, and it would have VHS tapes. And she would plug those suckers in, and she started taking courses and working on her degree in MA in counseling. So I just, I saw the change taking place then. I was this full-time on-campus student, but she was this master's level student taking counseling by plugging in VHS. You remember VHSs, don't you?
Yes, of course. I am old enough to know. I remember when DVDs came out. I was late high school, early college when DVDs really, really hit hard. So I'm old, Dad. I'm old.
I know. I just think about your being old. I mean, the implications for me are cascadic. Did you get that one?
Yeah, that's it's obscure. I'll give you credit for an obscure word there.
So we're seeing these changes taking place. To be clear, seminaries will always say always is a strong statement, but seminaries are not going away anytime soon. Colleges and universities are not going away anytime soon. On-campus training is still here to stay in the most point. But the great inflection point took place with the internet. And then the greater inflection took place when you had the inflection point plus streaming. The first internet classes that we had when I was a dean at Southern were basically email, not anything else. We would send out DVDs, they would watch them, and then we would have email correspondence about them. That's how we did our first internet classes. And then the next inflection point became streaming. So we're watching all these changes take place, and our desire at Church Answers is to start bringing the best of practical ministry resources to the local church. Now, I think about you, Sam, and you went on campus for your undergraduate and for your master's degree. But then when you started working on your PhD, you had what was then considered a non-traditional model. Explain that one.
Yeah, well, with my master's, I was taking night classes because I was a bivocational pastor. I had to work during the day, and I was just even grateful that night classes were offered. When you were in seminary, it really wasn't even an option. You had to go during the day.
Let me interject something. I'm going to get back to you. When I was in seminary, courses were primarily built around the preferences and schedules of the professors. And most professors wanted to be done by 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was rarely a class that went later than that. But yeah. Continue on.
Yeah, but when I got my PhD, by the way, from Dallas Baptist University, one of my favorite institutions on the planet, I think very highly of DBU, and they were very good to me. And I had a wonderful education and a wonderful experience getting my PhD with them. It was not online per se. We had online portions of the program, but it was a residency PhD, but it was done on the weekends. And, I was thrilled to be able to fly into Dallas, then fly back. There was a lot of nights I was flying back Saturday night, and often getting in, back into my church or home for church the next morning. I was getting at 2, 3 in the morning, and then having to get up and preach. So it was tough, but it was a great experience. And it was certainly worth my time. And, DBU has really been at the forefront of a lot of, educational practices. So thankful for the PhD in leadership at DBU. But, things have even changed since then. That was just a few years ago. Now we're seeing, and this is what I love about the certificate model. It is opening up education to more people. It's not that it's going to replace accredited institutions. It's not going to replace degrees. People who want a degree are still going to go get a degree. The people who want a PhD are still going to go get a PhD. What it's going to do is it's going to allow for more people to be educated. And in the case of the church, theologically educated. So this is a really big opportunity for churches to, and you can do this, obviously through the oversight of a pastor, to get people more knowledge about the Bible. I think that's very exciting. And yeah, the tipping point was streaming. Since we are now able to stream, which obviously was not capable just when the internet was invented. Streaming is a fairly recent thing, but since people have the ability to stream, now they have the ability to get these classes that are obviously done at their own pace in their homes, and to get the education that they would otherwise not get. It is a very exciting time.
It is an exciting time, and I want to talk about our contribution to this exciting time. And it's called Church Answers University, and I want to introduce it via this topic about the changing landscape of ministry education and training. What happened was I was talking to a person who works with pastors in Uganda, specifically Kampala, Uganda. And he was telling me about all the pastors that did not have training, that needed some type of credentialing in order just to stay as pastors in their churches. And the more we talked about it, the more I realized these guys they're very smart, very capable, but they did not have undergraduate degrees. They did not have the funding for this. And so that basically introduced us to our foray into certification called Church Answers University, where they could get a certificate in Christian ministry. Well, other African nations started contacting us, churches from other African nations. I hope we can get to them sooner rather than later. We're certainly working right now in the English-speaking African nations, which will be our first step, but we've had French-speaking nations call us and say, can you bring it to us as well? But then we started hearing from bivocational pastors who were not able to get the traditional seminary or college education. And then we started hearing from pastors who wanted to raise up people within their church to serve in ministry on campuses, in children's ministry, student ministry, teaching pastor. And all of a sudden, this whole venue of certification where you can get the training in about 9 months, highly affordable, highly accessible, easily attainable, became an opportunity that millions upon millions before did not have. And then we were introduced to Jackie King, and Jackie King then said, we've got a lot of people who are interested in women's ministry. So we started a second certification, in women's discipleship. And we're launching this, Sam. Well, we have launched it. We've launched this a couple of weeks ago, and Church Answers University is a reality. It has come to fruition. The dream that started way back with the old models, the VHS and all of those things, has now become a reality that Church Answers University is serving the world in ministry education and training.
Yeah, and I'm thrilled that we're able to provide these resources, because I do believe that, I think that there's multiple people in every church, and obviously if you're a larger church, that would be even more numbers, that would absolutely love to get training that otherwise couldn't. I know of people in my church, and I'm excited to be able to present this to them, because yes, they're working, full time. They have their schedules. The thought of going to seminary, though exciting to them, is just it's not possible. Well, now you can bring that education to the person, and this certificate model is just a great way to go for many people, particularly for people who aren't necessarily looking for a degree or going to a seminary. But even if Dad, we've got people that are doing this even though they have seminary degrees. I
saw some applicants that have seminary degrees that are adding.
Yeah, and they just want to add to it. They just enjoy learning. And so, really, who is this for? It's for anybody that believes they should know the Bible more and enjoys learning. And it's provided in such a way that it can be done at your own pace. and can be done in a way that accommodates for a variety of schedules. Absolutely love the certificate model.
Well, it is something that is now becoming a reality. And when we see how ministry education and ministry training has been evolving over the years, this is a natural next step. But what is exciting to me about this is the global impact that it has. The fact that I will have a Zoom conversation, several of them in Kampala, and then talk to pastors around the continent of Africa. And then we start getting inquiries from Europe. Then we started getting inquiries from Australia. And then we started getting inquiries from different countries in Asia. And before you know it, Sam, we realized that this was a global movement because this was something that was so affordable and so accessible and easily attainable. And Church Answers University, just almost like the blink of an eye, became this global force for ministry training and ministry education. And I got to say this, even though you and I are two of the faculty, it's a pretty incredible faculty. And we can even exclude us and say that it's a pretty incredible faculty. And I love this fact. Tyndale said, you offer this certification and we will help get all the books to all of the textbooks to these students without any additional cost to the student. So
it's brilliant. Thank you, Tyndale.
Yes.
Thank you, Tyndale. The cost of this includes the books. Why hasn't somebody thought of that before? I mean, that just makes sense. It just makes sense. Hey, I just had a thought. Can I just give a random thought that's completely off script? I have a really good idea for this certificate in terms of a gift.
Yeah.
This would make a great wedding gift to a couple.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know, I don't want to be all over spiritual here and say who out there is listening that this may apply to. I was just thinking, you know what, if you've got a young couple that's getting married and they want to get rooted in scripture, and maybe they're just not called to seminary or theological education, but do want to make sure that, they're grounded in, the Bible, this would be a great way to go about it as a young married couple going through these courses together. Just a thought. And that just shows you how broad reaching the certificate model is. It's not narrow, it's broad, and it's really for a lot of different kinds of people. He's like, well, I don't have a college degree. Well, it doesn't matter. I didn't even graduate high school. It doesn't matter. This is for you. Hey, I have a PhD. You know what? It still sounds interesting because these courses really intrigue me. It really is for a wide variety of people. I just thought, you know what? It'd be a great wedding gift. Give a quote unquote scholarship to a new husband and a new wife, and allow them to go through it together and enrich their marriage as they get grounded in Scripture.
Tell you something else that's excited me about this whole new foray into ministry education and training is the number of church leaders and other Christians who have stepped up and said, I love this. I know that most of the Ugandans they don't have the funds to pay for their tuition. And I know that we'll be looking at contiguous countries to Uganda in East Africa. And we know that many of them do not. And so with a full tuition and book price of $1,900, they have been providing that as part of their mission giving in the church. That is just another exciting opportunity that churches see. Not only is it something that we can do to train those who are here, but it is part of the mission that we can reach the Acts 1:8 globe through giving scholarships like that. So that's just another part of this that I have seen. Well, we've been talking about the changing landscape of ministry education and training. And of course, we focused a little bit about this new introduction of Church Answers University, which we are incredibly excited. And it's now 2 weeks old. And we've begun to just see early fruit about that. And once again, thank you, Tyndale, for the partnership that we have there. But just simply to say, this is something that is changing every single month, how we do ministry education and training. And we've seen, just like COVID disrupted so many areas of life, COVID has disrupted ministry education and training, and it will continue to. And what we're going to try to do, Sam, at Church Answers University is stay in touch with what is happening, not only in the broader cultural world, but in the local church so that we can provide the type of connection training resources that will make a difference and help the local church. That's our mission. We love the local church. We love the local church leaders.
And I love that Church Answers is providing this wonderful resource. So we'd love for you to check out Church Answers University. And again, thank you all for listening to this week's episode. Thank you for those of you who watch on YouTube. Yes, we do have these on YouTube as well. So you know what to do: rate, review, subscribe, and all of the good stuff to help us get the algorithms in order. We want to get our message out. And thank you for helping us do that. And thank you for listening. We will check you out next time.